We will be looking at a 1984 Honda XL350R motorcycle carburetor set. This is a dual carb, and we're just going to clean carburetor, top and bottom, bowls, floats. We've got your slide in here. We've got your needle in the bottom there. If you can see all the way through there. We've got your choke assembly. We'll be looking at all this today. So the first thing we're going to do is take the top cap off here. It's a black cap on this, held together by Phillips screws. Now we won't be taking apart both sides of the carburetor. They're both identical, so there's no need to take apart both sides. But what we've done with this carburetor, what we will do is take it apart. We'll clean it with carbon choke cleaner. We'll blow through it with compressed air, making sure all the ports are clear and cleaned and ready to go. So we've got a paper gasket on top here, and you can see if you look down in there, that slide going up and down. You want to make sure that that goes up and down freely, and then it has to actually pull the other side up as well, so there will be some tension on there, but you want to make sure that it doesn't snag, doesn't catch. Here's your idle adjust here, and you can see when we turn this clockwise, it'll turn your idle up. And essentially what that is doing is pushing your slides up, allowing more air in, sucking more fuel in. So that's the top of the carburetor there. You can blow through that with compressed air, carb cleaner. Generally no parts in there. You'll have to disassemble and clean. Just blow through it and use some carb cleaner. Next place we're going to go is the float, the bowl area, the main jet. It's the part of the carburetor that'll get gummed up sitting for a certain amount of time. Maybe bad fuel ran through it. We've got two Phillips screws on the bottom here. And while we're pulling it apart, there's a drain nipple here. And you can see that when I turn that carburetor sideways. That is the drain. Now, when it's sitting on the motorcycle, you'll have a fuel hose, a vent line going to this, and that's so that fuel, if it drips out of there, it does not drip directly on that motor and start a fire. So you want to make sure that that vent hose is there when you put your carburetor back on the motorcycle. Now we've got your main jet here. We've got your pilot jet here. Pilot jet is just a flat screwdriver, and that sits kind of down in that port area there. And this one is a 42, and then your main jet is going to be a 125. Now they're all going to be different depending on altitude and riding conditions, exhaust on the machine, or air filter on the machine. So you want to make sure and jet it how it's supposed to be jetted. Now you turn these counterclockwise out, and we've got the main jet and the holder here. And this is the holder part of it, this is the main jet. So the pilot jet, you can't get your fingers down in there, so we kind of just dump that out. You want to make sure that when you clean these, that you blow through it with compressed air and carb choke cleaner. Make sure when you hold it up to light, you can see all the way through this. It's a very small jet, but can cause all kinds of problems. Next, we're going to pull this pin out, and this pin runs all the way through here, and this is what holds the bowl on here, and this should move freely. Now you can adjust the floats on these, or excuse me, holds the float on here. You can adjust the float by that little metal tab there. If you've got a little bit of fuel leaking or some issues, you can adjust that. Now we'll pull that float completely off of there. And you can see your needle. Here's your pin that holds your float on there. Your needle here, if it's grooved anyway, or maybe there's debris in there, but that is where your float will get held open, and it'll allow fuel to dump in there, and then that is when fuel will come out of that bowl nipple here that we talked about earlier. Also on this bowl, you can drain your fuel with that screw there. If you want to drain it for the season, if your bike's going into storage, you can drain it. Now you want to make sure that this is free before you go back together. So your fuel comes in here, and if you blow through here with compressed air, air will come out here. Air and fuel, any kind of debris that's inside those ports there will come out here. All these ports you can blow through with air. Make sure they're clear, and we can go back together with it. So going back together, just make sure that there's no debris down in there. Clean that really good. Set your needle down in there on top of your bowl there, and then stick the pin back through. Make sure that pin's all the way in there, otherwise that'll hold your bowl from sitting completely down. And then you can put your main jet back in there and your pilot jet, and then snug those up. They're brass going into aluminum, and so you don't need to snug these up extremely tight, just fairly snug. Then we put your bowl back on and you're all set.